G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game of Age of Empires 4 on the public update preview. Today we take a look at two civilizations, some that received some changes, mainly the Holy Roman Empire, and the other which didn't receive too many at all. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Spawning in the east side of the map in the color blue, playing as the Holy Roman Empire, it's Anatan. And on the west side of the map in the color orange, playing as Joan of Arc, it's B. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a casted game. Today we've got Himayama for you. I love this map, and if you love this map as well and love this content, make sure you go ahead, leave a like on that video, as it really helps out the traction of the channel. And let's get into it, talk a little bit about what we can expect today. So the big ticket item that we're going to be looking here for is the mine work. But looks like Anatan's going to be taking a pit stop before he even gets his way over there, as it's going to be an early Rax that comes out. Now, the Holy Roman Empire are particularly good at doing this because they have a lot of extra wood that they start with, not a whole lot of things to do with it. So they might as well just go about getting a Spearman out, looking to put on a little bit of pressure early. There's a number of ways that he can do this, but ideally he wants to look to try and target the gold, target the stone as another opportunity as well, because B may be thinking about going into a second town center a little bit later. So having the flexibility with these spearmen to push into the gold, push into the stone, try and keep your enemy on food, try and keep them on wood, limit them to what they can actually do, then get a couple of archers out to defend. But by that point, the spears have already done what you wanted them to do in the first place, and that was to buy you time. So I'm curious to see exactly how Anatan looks to play this, whether we see that 2TC style that's been, I wouldn't say quite popular, because, well, we're on the pup here. This is the Season 9 preview, and we haven't got a whole lot of games in just yet. But so far we can see B with 2 Vils on the gold. He's got 180 in the bank at the moment. Joan of Arc is, of course, one of them with 150 health, and if I remember correctly, she also heals herself. So it's going to be tough taking out Joan of Arc, but Spear comes in, School of Cavalry comes down. Pretty nice timing here for B as well. But Anatan only with the 2 spears to start off with. Mining camp also going to be under pressure here. We'll check back in over on the other side and see how Anatan is doing. Plenty of Vils over on the gold. Looks like he's just microing the prelate in between the gold Vils and the sheep Vils. Scout, oh, you hate to see it. You can see that B's scout is just slightly ahead of Anatan's. This is always so frustrating. So it looks like he's going to go cut him off, do the right thing, and try and just guarantee that any sheep that are down here, he's going to be able to pick them up first. Spear's now going to be falling back, and definitely not as many spears as I would have hoped for from Anatan. I think it was just a combination of, like the back gold together with going up against Joan of Arc. It's a bit dangerous. Not necessarily dangerous, but, you're not going to be forcing your opponent to make any archers when they've got Joan of Arc, because they can go into either one of their options off Joan, and you're going to be fine. So as long as they've got back gold, they're okay. I guess the one big thing that they can do, though, is you can deny those knights, at least for a little bit of time. The other thing to note is these spears are just going to always have value because of those knights. There is inevitably going to be knights. Minework coming through. 3 Vils on the minework. So not a huge amount of Vils here building this minework. Makes me think there could be a look at a potential Castle Age play. But even if that was the case, I don't know. Oh gosh, have a look at this. Killing the deer. This is a very, very painful, because your stack of deer, you always hope that it's just going to be sitting there nice and ready for you. Not going to be the case here. Imagine trying to put a town center on this bad boy. You wouldn't even know where to start. I guess you'd go somewhere around here, but even then, it's probably just not worth it. You're much better off going over here. TC, berries, and then, of course, lure the boar down here. This is a beautiful TC spot, in fact. Has Anatan found this one just yet? He has actually seen this spot, so hopefully those spears head towards that direction, because that is definitely the right call. Scout up towards that top side. Age up about to come through for both of these players now. Relatively early here for B. 4 minutes 25, 26, 27. We'll call it a 26er. And straight into the second town center. No real surprise here. Joan of Arc is quite a strong civ when it comes to turtling, just because of the power of Joan. You want the game to go late, because the later it goes, the more power Joan, or more powerful Joan gets. And subsequently, you can leverage that quite a bit more effectively. Let's check in on the other side, though, as the age up comes through on the minework just before 5 minutes. If he's lucky, Anatan getting that age up through. Not a lot of resources in the bank, though, which is Gonna make me a little bit curious about what the plan is here. 5 spears now coming out for Anatan. Looks like he might be doing a little bit of herding here. Also, towards that top side, we see the location for that second town center, that ideal second town center location, is not going to be happening, at least for the moment. But you can see that B, undoubtedly, he's going to be a little bit sad about not being able to put it down there. Where does he go for that second TC? More than 500 wood already in the bank, and you can see that at the moment, these vills just head underneath the second town, or underneath the main town center. Does he just look to keep this close to home? And if so, this is a really big loss for him. It's kind of wild how much value you get from those spears by just being annoying, right? Like, Joan of Arc's at the back here. She's gone into the swordsman, the swordswoman. Meanwhile, where do you put this second TC? I'm scratching my head, and look at this. It's just going to be on the gold. But you've got a problem here. You're not playing as the Ottomans. You can't just simply go Anatolian hills and then get a whole bunch of food. Like, this is all the food that we've got. It's going to be enough to get us up to the castle age, or at least, well, actually, I take that back. It's not a whole lot of food. I guess we do have the berries as well, and we can always move out here, but this is annoying. This is really, really annoying. And I guess that's just the consequence of, you know, having these spears out early, is that you can be annoying with it. Looks like the town center might be able to fire off a couple of arrows on the spearmen, but not a huge amount of damage, and we already start to see Owl Pikes is through, so that extra damage is already being realized for those hardened spears. +1 ranged armor going to be coming in, and look at the value that he's getting from these early spears, and you can't help but think the only reason he's gone into these early spears in the first place is because of the ability to go into all pikes, to go into the ability of these cheap attacks with the mine work, and now I'm going to throw down a couple of farms. Second prelate is already out. Third one is in the queue. I love this. I love it so damn much. The only thing it's really missing, though, is a second town center. You don't have to play a second town center, but I just feel like it's missing that. You know, like when your opponent's doing all this. Oh my gosh, look, have a look at this. He's on farms. The French player, or the Joan of Arc player, is on farms at 7 minutes. And I know you're going to say, well, the Joan of Arc, or the Holy Roman Empire player is on farms as well. I know, but he's a bit exceptional, because for him, wood is it's a different story, right? Not only am I gathering more wood with each of my vills, as that spearman does go down, but I'm gathering it much faster because of my prelate. So we all often make an excuse for the Holy Roman Empire transitioning to farms. They're also, it's also quite a bonus for them as well, because normally they have the Archon Chapel, and that buffs up their farm gather rate. And because it's infinite, it essentially just means that they can basically just have faster gatherers on the farm. So we like to make exceptions for them. Whereas for B on Joan of Arc, there's no bonuses whatsoever that he is getting for farms. These are just unfortunate farms. 7-minute, 8-minute transition over to farms. It's a sad state of affairs for Joan of Arc at the moment, but have a look at the number of spears that are beginning to build up here. Keep in mind, these spears are not to be messed with, though. I do suspect Joan of Arc may look to do a little bit of messing here. She's got quite a bit of armor. You can see 3 melee armor. Keep in mind that special ability, which does a fair bit of damage, so 20 damage within 1.2 tiles. So even though those spears are quite fearsome with their all pikes, I suspect that Joan of Arc might be able to do quite a bit of damage here. Let's have a look and see how it plays out. Anatan heading in on the bottom side of that secondary town center, looking to see if he can siege it down. Obviously, doesn't see any units. Will find one villager to start himself off with. Second vill, no, not going to find any luck. Does a little bit of a ring around the rosy. Catches a couple of vills on the top side. Second, third one. Joan of Arc comes through. She's going to be looking for a spin to win. See if she can find any. Let's go. First one is off. There we go. She gets a nice little spin, but the vills are getting chased. The spearmen are doing absolutely amazingly as they surround these villagers on the secondary town center. Perhaps a little bit of a mistake by B, putting those vills on the secondary town center rather than putting them on the first. You know, all of these farms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, could have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 farms around the main town center with plenty of garrison space, and that is in my mind just an objective mistake, right? Like, that is 7 vills that have gone, or 6 vills that have gone down here that did not have to. And then, obviously, the remaining vills that went down here, I mean, there was a couple of wood vills. There was some vills on gold, but in the end, it just worked out to be really, really unfortunate for B. The timing was absolutely perfect. Now, keep in mind, B is on a second town center. So, Anatan, at this point, I feel like doesn't need to add in that second TC. Only needs to go up to the castle age and collect relics, and he's pretty much in a game-winning position because he's delayed that opponent so much. If we think about what is really, like, well, effectively, what is that second TC doing for B? It's giving him 3 vills, so it's giving him 3 vills every minute. So with 12 vills being taken out, that basically puts this town center offline for 4 minutes. That's essentially what's happened here. It's put him back to the very beginning when he put that town center down. We have an even Stevens villager race right now. And that's a pretty big advantage to Anatan, because Anatan, as I sort of mentioned or alluded to, the sooner he gets into the castle age, the sooner he gets those relics, he's going to be having a good time. All right, well, there it is. Regnitz Cathedral getting thrown down. Now, my expectation here is that the prelates would begin to move. He's got how many vills on the age up? It's 8 vills on the age up, so I would expect prelates would start to move. You'd see the first one up here, second one over here, and if you really wanted to get greedy, you could technically do a third one over here, but I'd probably just go play for the safe central one. He's got plenty of spears out as well if he wants to guard up these relics, and we do see B making his way towards that position, but naturally, Anatan has already got that attack move route planned out, and the horsemen almost going down there to just 2 shots from those spears. Meanwhile, in the middle of the map, more spears make their way out. And you can see that he's literally just making only spears at this point. 23 spearmen on the field. Guildhall going to be coming up now, but remember, even though when it comes to contesting the relics, he's going to be in the castle age, he still needs to make his monastery. He still needs to train his monks, and then he has to walk those monks out here. Keep in mind, the prelate has already been trained in the second age. It's already been walked out in the second age, and all it simply does is pick up that relic, walks home a happy camper. That's how it works, baby. Joan of Arc. Looks like she's found a couple of spears here on the defense. Is that wheelbarrow? We've got wheelbarrow coming through as well for B. Age up comes in. Relic in the middle. It will be focused. Spearman on the bottom side. He's going to go for the very, very far relic as well. Take a look at this. Always dangerous. I'd love to see these spears a little bit closer to this prelate. Almost want to have like each of them in their own little control group together. Nice little job grabbing up the first. Second relic on the way. Third relic now getting picked up as well. Ideally, you'd have the Regnitz training a prelate, which he's done, and that's going to pick up the safe relic. Or go into the Archon if you've got an Archon, but it looks like he's just going to be rallying it out over to these bad boys. But no, it is going to be the fourth prelate that fourth relic that he moves out to. So so far, this game has been absolutely perfect from Anatan. But there's a part of me that thinks, you know, B was... you know, it's been a bit ruined by what Anatan did, right? Like, I think the biggest part was the town center not being able to be put down on a pack of deer or berries or something like that, which I don't think he would have been able to do that realistically anyway. I mean, he did have Joan of Arc. How many spears did he have? He had about 5 or 6 spears when that town center went down. I think he probably could have fought that. It was just a case of the deer being chased away, and I don't think there's anything you can really do to stop that. 31 spears now coming out, and we might have a little bit of a balance issue on our hands here. How do you deal with all these spears? You know, this is sort of the problem that you have with the men-at-arms and the crossbows, and I often talk about this, where in low numbers, crossbows absolutely demolish men-at-arms. But when you start getting to the point where it's like 50 men-at-arms versus 50 crossbows, as soon as the men-at-arms get on top of the crossbows, it's then on the burden is then on the crossbow player to really make sure they're microing every single step of the way. And if they don't, the men-at-arms will win. And I can't help but feel it's going to be the same here with the spearmen. So I think what might be happening here is B is going to be moving into Arbalatria instead, in the hope that he won't even have to micro. He's going to put down his Pavis shield, he's going to pick up Gambesons, which is going to give him increased melee armor, and he's just going to try and tank through these bad boys. Let's see exactly how it works out for him though. Town center under pressure here. A lot of spears. He could just look to right-click this if he really wanted to. Joan of Arc, she's underneath. Big spin to win comes in. She needs to jump in the TC. She does. She's going to come out the front. More spears chasing through the base. Village lead about 9 at the moment. 5 relics in the bag for Anatan. Underneath the enemy town centers, the spears looking their best, looking their fastest to try and find any potential victims. Still got Joan out here. Don't know how close she is to the age up, and I guess we'll never find out. Not the age up, the level up. Spears continuing to wreak their havoc. Behind the scenes, we see a market getting thrown down. Looks like B might be struggling a bit with the macro. He hasn't been able to actually build up any Arbalatria numbers, and at this stage of the game, like, B is just not able to really build up. He's just been trying to catch up this whole game. We do see the Arbalatria is out. It's got the 6 melee armor on it, but the enemy does 14 damage. So you're still dealing 8 damage. It's not anywhere near as powerful as it once was, just because of the power of the Archon. Or not, sorry, the Mind Work. If you don't have the Mind Work, you probably don't have +2 here. You definitely don't have the +3 damage from Old Pikes either. We might have to sit down and talk about this because he's made only spears, with the exception of a single lunge connector. There is one Ronald McDonald lunge connector in here somewhere. I don't see him. I think I did see him earlier. Is that him? No, that's a spearman. There he is. He's a blue-wearing Ronald McDonald spearman today. Or rather, blue-wearing Ronald... No. Yes, Ronald McDonald, but not the spearman part. Viscount now in favor of Anatan, and this is just where it gets so much harder. I mean, from this position, how does Anatan possibly lose? What about Springles? But even then, I don't know if Springles are really going to be able to do anything, because they're just going to get run down by the spearmen, right? You got to remember, these spears, keep in mind, these spears are fast spearmen. These are Holy Roman Empire spearmen. They move faster. You have created a huge problem by doing this. All of a sudden, I'm just going to put it out there. I think the Holy Roman Empire becomes the new best noob civ. Because all you need to do is make spears. And if your enemy starts making archers and like the English or something, you just start mixing men at arms. And now they've got to micro out those. Like, do you know what I mean, right? Like, to me, the Holy Roman Empire has become the new default noob civ. Just because of this change, this one change. It's kind of crazy how much this is impacting the game. I mean, from here, it's pretty much no chance back into it. B's lost 35 vils. Now, if B had 90 vils at this point, or 80 vils at this point, it would be a different story. But he doesn't. He's lost so many vils because of these spears. Literally facing an opponent who has only made spears, with the exception of a single lance connect. I think he just does this for the memes, right? Like, I remember that game Corvinus made 199 scouts and a single elephant. It was probably like 196 scouts or something like that and a single elephant. I just couldn't understand why the elephant? A single elephant and then all the scouts. I think the elephant was just to bait the enemy away, and then the scouts went in the back. That was a game, a long ago game. Was that had to be Corvinus? I think it had to be. Anyway, at this stage though, Anatan in full control. Spearman mass, not yet building. Looks like he's going to be going imp. Have a look at this. The income per minute is obviously in his favor. We'll do a little bit of a comparison. It looks like it's going to be about 2,800, 3,500-ish. I'll give him 3,500 compared to his opponent who sits on about 1.8k. So about 2x the opponent despite the vil count being so close. And that just goes to show the power of those relics. It's going to go Swabia out of everything. And I think that makes sense, right? Swabia is the nail, the final nail in the coffin, because now the economy goes absolutely troppo behind this. And you can also look to upgrades like your elite upgrades, but I'm kind of curious to see whether he goes into elite army tactics here. Elite army tactics got a little bit of a change, and I've been looking on Reddit, I've been looking on the official forums, and, well, not the official forums, but rather the Steam forums, and people are saying they don't like it. They don't like the change to elite army tactics. It kind of ruins the balance in the late game. That's what people say. So I'd be curious to see exactly how it works for him here. I don't suspect that we're going to see too much of a different outcome because of it. Let's check in on the other side, though. Let's see exactly what the plan is for B. I'd love for B to put some walls up. But then, even putting up walls... Hold on, I just realized this is 2+3. Where are all these relics being held? Is he moving them somewhere? Oh, he's moving them into outposts. Okay. All right. That makes sense. So now it's 3+2. So I suspect he's going for cannon emplacements. Yeah, he's going for cannon emplacements. Joan of Arc trying to get underneath this. Might be able to do a little bit of a American sniper action, but even then, actually, no, she's not able to do the sniper action because she's the spin to win girl. But now she just gets countered by all the spears. Poor Joan of Arc. All right, well, a little bit of a tough spot here for B. Economy starting to pick up, though. Up to 2.3k now, compared to Anatan, who's sitting at about 2.6k. So it's definitely come down, but that's only because the relics have been idle. Has he picked up? I don't think he's picked up his Tithe Barns yet. Yeah, you can see it's coming through now. 45 seconds away. Jones Champions in the back. A little bit of a raid. Nothing too crazy to write home about, as Joan does go down. Now, just give me a second here. I'm just going to take a little bit of a drink of water, a swig of water, because I'm starting to feel it. All right, we're good. Cannon emplacement firing off as well. Spears starting to make their way through. Let's check in on that base of B. Plenty of Arbitria here. I'd love to see him pick up more melee armor upgrades. Really, really important here. Not just the fitted leather work, but also looking to get that insulated helm as well. It's definitely going to go a long way. Joan comes in. Nice little spin on that backside. We didn't actually... I might have to fix that up. I don't know why it didn't show us that. It should have shown how much damage she did. But I guess we're going to have to highlight them. Do we have to switch perspective? No. It's meant to be smart, but I guess it's not. Joan going to run in on the back. Champions at the bottom. There's still a potential way that B finds himself back into this game. My only concern is the relics, right? Like, it's 5 relics versus 0. B didn't even manage to wall a single relic in. But even if you wall them in, see, this is the problem, right? Even if you wall the relic in, the spears just kill the wall because they have so many spears. I feel like... look, I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, but do we see, like, the Holy Roman Empire win rate rise incredibly because of this upgrade? I feel like we might. On the way through now. Precision crossbreeding coming through. That new technology looking beautiful. Love to see it. Excuse me. Bit of a cough back there. Oh, still sick. Still sick. It's I've been sick for the entirety. When did AOM come out? 2 to 3 days before AOM came out, I started getting sick, and I've been sick the whole time ever since then. So yeah. Look, I'm not going to do the maths, but I'll tell you now. It's this is probably the longest I've been sick for a long time. It's just been back to back to back. And we got another sickness that's just come in. It's we got another one that's just on the way. Boy's got a fever. Yep. Anyway, Drongo and Sickness, they're more iconic duo. I'll wait. Joan of Arc still falling back. Arbitrary number looking pretty good here. Now, I would be really upset if Anatan went into anything but Spearmen here. I feel like he has to stick it out in the Spearmen. You can drop the Pavis, but it only gives ranged armor and does increase the tiles of range that you've got, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense. The other thing that would do really well against this would be any kind of AoE, like the Lanch Connector would obviously destroy them, but we're not playing the Holy Roman Empire here. No walls. Like, this is so wallable as well. Like, this is a very wallable base. You know, you've heard of manganellable armies. What about a wallable base? So, there you go. I'm going to put it out there. This is a wall... Actually, hold on a minute. Do you not... You do get a bonus against Spearmen. I just remembered. Joan's Champions get a bonus against Spearmen, and they're no longer tied to the... they're no longer tied to the keep, which means that we can actually build Joan's Companions. Achieve level 3 with Joan of Arc and select between champions and riders to be trained? Oh, is it because we're not watching from B's perspective? There we go. We can make Joan's Champions. We should totally be making Joan's Champions. They're very expensive, though. I don't know if it's justified. He's making Joan's Champions. Yeah, there we go. We've got something in queue now. Together, the spears and the Arbitraire fighting it off in the main base. 94. He's literally making only spears. 80 spears. Literally 100% Spearmen. We are Spearmen gaming now. Down to the south, he's getting chased. And this is what I was talking about earlier, where you've technically got that advantage, but you've got a micro on every single front, every second. Look at the spears trickling across the map. At this point, you know that he's just memeing. You know he's got his legs up. He's just sitting back laughing as he runs through the base of his opponent, killing villager after villager. Last time we checked in, there was 35 villagers that were killed. Now we're up to 62. He's taken out another 27 in that time frame. This guy is an absolute menace. Somebody needs to stop him, but it ain't going to be me. That is for sure. I don't want to deal with that. Vil count for him, 96. Swabia is still kicking strong here. Meanwhile, towards the front, I feel like we don't have enough champions. Joan's Champions coming out. And we really needed to. It would have made so much more sense if we'd had them. And I know that there's going to be people that are going to say, okay, you should have gone into archers instead of going into the Arbitraire. If you go into archers, you have to micro them. And I guess, to be fair, you probably could micros pretty effectively, even in these numbers. But the trouble that you're going to have is when those spears do catch you, they are going to absolutely slice and dice you, bro. It is not going to be a close contest. Whereas at least here, Arbitraire, a little bit more health, a lot more armor. That's the big thing, right? A lot more armor. But I guess realistically, when you're doing 20 damage, the difference between 8 armor and 3 armor is really not that much, right? Like, it's, yeah. It's a huge what's the word? Over penetration? Probably not the best way to phrase it. All of the golds run out inside the base of B. It's been like that for quite some time. He's got a number of options on the south side. Nothing on the north, though. Definitely not. And now, Court Architect's going to be coming through. We must have elite army tactics, right? Yeah, 7 melee armor. Hey, look at this, 7 melee armor. I guess that's just elite army tactics, right? That's just the way it goes. Steel barding. I can't believe he you know what? It's kind of funny. that he said, okay, I actually have to mix in Landsknechte. And now he's decided, you know what? I'm just going to make only Landsknechte. So these are Holy Roman Empire, world's fastest infantry. They do have that bonus 10%. And then on top of that, with Elite Army Tactics, he's got extra melee armor and 20% extra damage. It's about to get painful. It's about to get really painful. So how does B defend against this? So number one is he needs walls. We've already talked about, you know, having walls. Walls are good. We like walls. Look at this. Perfect back here for lots of farms. So we want walls. And then that's our first line of defense. So when our enemy pushes up to the walls, we're able to sit behind the walls and build ourselves a little bit of time. And then he wants units that are going to like kind of flow into the army. So men-at-arms are really, really good for that because we want them to be a front line, but we also want them to flow through the enemy army. And then that way all the units get clumped together on those men-at-arms. And then finally, we just want to make sure that we spread out. We've got lots of distance between our units, so using the staggered formation, quite important. But it's going to be hard. With that many Landsknechte, I feel like we're almost watching, you know, like two friends battle it out. And obviously these two guys are friends. I go way back, being in the 3D clan together. But with this many Landsknechte, you wouldn't do this to somebody unless you knew you could get away with it. And they wouldn't hate you for the rest of your life. Because this is going to be painful. I'm going to sell this game as only Spearmen. But there becomes a point where he changed his mind. And he said, you know what? We're going to make only Landsknecht instead. Now, keep in mind, there's still a difference in ages between these two guys. B is currently in the 3rd age, with half the villager count of his opponent, who's in the Imperial Age. But he does also have to contest this sacred site. Keep is down here. No relics in the keep. Doesn't look like any upgrades either on these outposts. He's definitely picked the right one. Meanwhile, a couple of stray Landsknechte are just going to go through. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord, he coming. Oh, Lord, he coming. Oh, no, 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 no. Run, run. 1.38 movement speed. You ain't running anywhere. You got 1.12, baby. It is a slice and dice of the worst kind. And the Landsknechte barely take a single loss as they run through. Keep in mind, they've got 7 melee armor. So those champions of Joan aren't going to be doing anything. And just gets run down completely. Surrounded. Oh, no, he's gone the wrong way. And, well, ladies and gentlemen, the rest is history. Thank you so much for watching. A little bit of a meme game today, but on the pup, we don't really have the lion's share of games to choose from. So we'll leave it there. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it and expect to see some more pup gameplay coming up soon. I'll tell you what, that was a pretty fun one. I enjoyed that one. Spearmen kind of good.